da! How's my rubric family today? I hope that all of you are having a great time. It's a new beginning for the weekend. You know, it's another Friday. So, you know, today we have Are You Ready? Are you ready for a good time? We have SmackDown. Was it a good time? We're gonna find out. Before we start the show, like we always do, I just would like to thank every single one of you for watching the videos. Thank you to all the family that is supporting us either on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everybody that is supporting us. Thank you to our new subscribers. And as you can see, we have our new layout. We have our new look. So we hope that all of you are enjoying that. Please let us know if you guys are really liking this or what can we change to make it better. Let's talk now about SmackDown. Was the show good? Was the show bad? Was the show extremely great? I want to say that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So actually I'm going to leave these things on a good note just because the wrestling quality wasn't as good, but the storyline development was extremely great. So I'm very thankful for that. If you guys wondering, John Paul is just taking care of some personal things that he has to do. So we want to say hi to him. We hope he's doing great, and that's why I'm writing solo. But Juan is going to do his best to make sure the show flows like you always do, because you know we love wrestling, and we're going to be covering SmackDown tonight, and tomorrow we're going to have something like a special treat that we have for one of our fans, so we're going to try to do that, and then we're going to put double duty. We're going to put NXT TakeOver Blackpool. We're going to be covering that, and also I'm going to be covering Hard to Kill by Impact Wrestling. So it's a busy weekend. It's always a busy weekend for Robrick, always a very busy weekend for wrestling. So let's get to it, my family. SmackDown Live took place in Indiana and the Ford Center, and SmackDown opened up with Miss TV. Okay, I was thinking to myself, okay, Miss TV, I don't know if it's gonna be legit, but I actually was surprised, I should say, because of like the interaction that the Miz had, because well, Miss TV opens up and then he welcomes to one of the biggest returns, and according to him, one of the biggest surprises and the biggest guest on Miss TV history, and that is John Morrison. We see him last week, so you know, last week was the show of the returns. We saw Sheamus returning, we saw the Usos returning, and we saw John Morrison returning. And I think that this time Morrison hopefully doesn't fail like he did in 2008. Most people will say, why did he fail? I'm just saying because the quality of a wrestler he is, the skill that he has, he could have done so much better. So hopefully they portray him in a good way. So far, I mean, they pair him with The Miz, but I think that it was good for what it was. So let's start elaborating. The Miz, like I said, he came out and he says that he's changed. Like people are, well, he's complaining that people are saying that he's changed, that he's not the Miz that we've seen for the past, let's say, year, when he turned face with Shane McMahon. So he's like, I came to set the record straight. I was having a bad day, and you know, he's like, I'm sorry, we all had a bad day, so I just got myself carried away because of how Kofi Kingston brought all the positivity. He was telling me that, like, yeah, life is great. So, you know, in one of those days, in some occasions, you just want to punch that person in the face. And that's what really happened. So my emotions got to me. So I just want to say sorry to Kofi Kingston. So that's one of the things that happened. And then he says, Kofi, you got to realize that the Fiend was threatening my daughter, and I failed with the opportunity to get to the Fiend by becoming the #1 contender and take the Universal Championship away from him. So he says, I failed, but you know, right now is the moment that I need family. So that's why he brings John Morrison. John Morrison comes out to a really nice pop, very interesting. And then John Morrison, like, they sit down, they're just talking about how they were a tag team. They were a 2-time tag team champions, the best tag team of the decade, they used to be called, or the Hollywood tag team. And then WWE does one of the things that they do really good, which is the video packages. So in the video package, they highlight all Morrison's accomplishments. So we go from like being 2-time Intercontinental champion, like being 2-time tag champion also, and being like ECW champion. They really didn't elaborate as much as they should have. But for the ones that don't know family, John Morrison used to be called before Johnny Nitro. Then he went to Impact, Johnny Mundo, Johnny all of that. The Johnny of Johnnies. That's John Morrison. So Morrison gets the mic. And the one thing is like the segment felt a little sloppy. I don't know if it's because Morrison is not used to be as in the interaction when it comes to like bigger audiences, I guess, because he's used to like Impact. I just don't know what it was, but it felt a little flat for me. But he says that like he's disappointed, but he's not disappointed to the Miz. He's disappointed to every single fan that like are just bashing him just because he had a bad day, just because like he just he feels that like when family is being threatened by somebody, you just gotta act, but you just gotta like turn. You just don't have to be this phase that like everything's good, everything's funny, oh my life is so awesome. Although the Miz, yeah, of course he says awesome, and he reiterates when he's talking about Morrison that like is one of the most awesome things that is he could ever seen is just to see Morrison in his show, The Miz TV. So he says, for you guys, The Miz has worked so hard for 15 years, even becoming the WWE champion, but because he has a bad day, you guys forget about him, and then you guys start just bashing him for no reason. So the New Day comes out, and then Kofi Kingston and Big E, they're like, well, Miz, you're a really terrible actor. We don't believe anything that you will say, and you're just like a human centipede. They were just saying that. It's like, well, we don't really buy anything. Then Kofi says, hey, I believe in you. If you would have said just to me, hey, I was having a bad day, but when you just apologize to me, I know that that's not a sincere apology. We just know that like you're turning into the Miz that we've seen all your career. Is just obnoxious, arrogant, you heel, piece of crap, prick, all of that. That's all what we know about the Miz. So Morrison, then they start like talking with Big E and everything, and then they set up a match. And then the match starts, but see, the one thing that I didn't appreciate from this whole match is that for the first, I want to say 5-6 minutes, there was only like an interaction from Morrison and Big E on the commentary booth, and with Michael Cole and Corey Graves, and I couldn't really appreciate the match. Nobody really was calling the match. It was actually Big E going against John Morrison back and forth. Oh yeah, I did this. Oh, you did that. Oh yeah, I respect you for this. But then, the Miz did this, and then, Kofi Kingston and everything, they were talking about how the Miz also said in the promo, he says, I respect the 6 months that you had as a WWE champion, and then he goes, but I also respect the 6 seconds that you lose the WWE championship of. And Kofi goes again, well, for the ones that don't know, it's 8 seconds. 8 seconds, remember that. So the match itself was almost the same match that they had the week before. A couple of near falls every now and then, meaning like Kofi did his like senton from the top rope, then he did his leg drop, then the Miz did a DDT for a near fall, and then we got the SOS. The Miz almost like had to, like, it was a very near fall. The Miz almost loses to that, and then Kofi did a kick to the Miz. Then the Miz catches him because Kofi was diving, and he kicks him into one of his knees, and then he sets him up for the figure 4. And then I thought it was going to be over at that time, but Kofi reached to the ropes, and then we get to see how there's an interaction once again with Big E and John Morrison. John Morrison did a senton, and he did a diving senton, and he hits Big E, which distracts Kofi Kingston, and then the Miz hits the skull crushing finale for the win, and this feud continues. Then we get to see Morrison and the Miz just holding with their arms raised, and the Miz gets the win, so they're one piece. So we'll see what happens after that. I think that it sets up a really nice feud from the tag teams, because knowing, like I said before, Morrison and The Miz were tag champs, I would say a decade ago. It sounds kind of funny that I'm saying a decade ago, but yeah, a decade ago, even a little more than that, I would say 12 years or so, they were tag team champions if they go and challenge for the championships to the New Day. So I can really see that match being set up for the Royal Rumble. So that's really good. I would like to see Morrison as a singles guy, but I know that like if they're slowly going to start pushing him into that pattern, but for now it's really cool to see The Miz and Morrison as a tag team and going against the New Day, and hopefully they win those championships, because like I said many times during the shows, the New Day has seen this time in the sun, and I just want to see new people being portrayed with the championships. I want to see new champions rather than the same New Day, or like for example now the Usos are back. I don't want to see the Usos with the championship. I want to see Morrison and The Miz. So moving along, and then we get the Firefly Funhouse. Then we get like one of the first vignettes from the bar, or the first promo from the Firefly Funhouse, and then we see Bray Wyatt, and he goes, "Don't be scared. I want to tell you something. I love you." So we get to see that from Bray Wyatt, and he said that like, but he loves every single one of you guys except for one person, and that's Daniel Bryan. And he says, "I feel the complete opposite of love for Daniel Bryan," and he says that's what the Fiend feels about you, and he just wanted to remember you that he doesn't want to play with you. He wants to hurt you. He's going to destroy you because of what you did, and you remember what you did. So that's the first promo that we get for Firefly Funhouse. So that was really cool. You get to see a more build up for the match that they're going to have at the Royal Rumble, and a lot of mind games. This reminds me a little bit of what The Undertaker used to do. When it comes to Daniel Bryan, like, the one thing is like at least he's face now, so we have a face and against a heel. So we get to see more Bray Wyatt like playing mind games with him, just messing with his head. It's like, oh, I know I can beat you, but I'm gonna keep messing with you. So that way you start hesitating yourself. So that's pretty interesting. I enjoy to see that, how like Bray Wyatt can come like and be like, oh, I'm so nice, but then let me in. So I feel that like that's pretty cool, pretty interesting to see. I really enjoy that segment, and that's what set it up for me. Okay, so Bray Wyatt closes by saying, "I love you," and he goes, "Not you, Daniel, but the butterflies." So then we get into a backstage segment, and we get Mandy and Sonya Deville there in the locker room, and then Deville says that she's very excited about Mandy Rose's match, and then Mandy picked up a big white box, and then she looked inside, and he took a deep breath, like anticipation for some reason, because like Sonya's like, well, it's gonna be Fire and Desire once again. I think that like we're gonna do really good, and she's like, we're gonna go back on top. 2020 is our year. And then she says, Mandy goes to Sonya, well, just let me take care of something, and I'll be right back. I'll see you. I'll meet you in the ring. So we'll see that like the story from our boy, or our sexy belly Otis and Mandy keeps going around, keeps still going on, and that's pretty good, because that's one of the stories that is, for me, is evolving organically. It's taking, the crowd is invested. We all want to see more, because we all want to see the underdog, or like the ugly, like the Beauty and the Beast. We love to see that dynamic, and that's something that, for example, Lashley and Lana don't have. That is actually forced, and it's more like, oh, we want to piss people off. So that's the mentality, that's the message that the creative from Monday Night Raw are sending us. Oh, do I say Vince McMahon? Maybe. Okay, Vince McMahon, Paul Heyman, they're the ones that are trying to makes us believe that that's good television. When it comes to like Mandy and Otis, is a lot more organic than Lana and Lashley's storyline. So they say that, and then we get, ladies and gentlemen, we get a segment from our glorified wrestler, or I would say favorite guitar player, and that's Elias. So Elias sang a song called Road to Rumble, and then the general theme for the song, it was how he's gonna win the Royal Rumble. He wondered if whatever Rowan had in the cages was in Lana and Lashley's sex tape, and he goes, probably not. And yeah, we don't want to see that. I think there's a lot of websites that have a lot of those kind of tapes out there. So if anyone is really want to go and see that, please check them out. But I'm not interested in to see, a BBD taking place right there. And then he threw a shot at Brock Lesnar for never being around. And that's always like, see, that's the one thing that like they always say about Brock Lesnar, he's never around. I don't know if WWE does it like to poke at Brock Lesnar, but I just feel that like they just do it just because every single person in that locker room knows that he's never there. So therefore I don't think he's that much respected. And I think that like the wrestlers inside the locker room, they know that like their champion should be somebody that is always going to be there every single time, and it should be somebody that carries the company in a way that like they all feel represented by that person. And when it comes to Brock Lesnar, I don't think that he represents the wrestler, the WWE wrestler from today. I don't think he represents what the morale in the locker room really is, or what, like, you know, that person that is represented every single one of those wrestlers in the locker room. So I think that's why they take this kind of shots at him. But then we go to another backstage segment, and then he's like Otis once again. He's there with Tucker, and Tucker's talking to him, and he's like, "Oh no, come on, you gotta quit with this storyline with Mandy. So you gotta focus on our matches. We have stuff to do." But then Mandy comes to him, and she's really apologized because of the situation that happened with Dolph Ziggler 2 weeks ago. And she said, "I don't know if this is as good as the cake that your mom will bake, but here's right here for you, and I'm so sorry." So Otis opens the box, and it's a cake. And in the cake we get to see, it's written on the cake, it's like, "I'm sorry." So you see Otis's face. He's really happy, so that's cool. I really enjoy that. Like I said, that storyline, if they keep going with that, that can easily be one of the best storylines that, like, for the whole SmackDown for the year, because like everybody's just want to see, for example, Otis as a main event guy, and see, like, of course, if you do the Beauty and the Beast, once again, you use Mandy, you know, you use her charisma, her beauty, her sex appeal, whatever it is, and Otis, that the guy is over. Like, we love the caterpillar, we love the moveset, we love the belly, you know, a sexy belly, like you will call it. I think that it's just good. It's just good TV, because again, we all supporting Otis in this. We all been Otis at some point. Maybe not with the belly, but we all been Otis because we all wanted to get the hot chick. We always wanted to be that guy that, like, the hot chickies actually feel so good for us, or so nice. Like, "Oh yeah, you know, I did something for you. Hey, here it is." And I guess we all channel the inner Otis when we see this storyline taking place. After that, then we got really the main event for a lot of guys. We had the best, top, beautiful women's, I will say. I will say the sexiest women in the roster for many of you. In my case, I can put myself, I can enter in, not Royal Rumble, I can enter in that conversation. We got not wrestling ability, but I'm saying beauty on its own, Alexa Bliss and Mandy Rose. So we get to see this match that we got to see 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, and more of the same. Of course, these two girls, again, beauty rather than talent when it comes to skill ability. Mandy Rose, yeah, she's improving, and Alexa, I can see a little bit more. She's not being as careful when it comes to taking bombs or, you know, doing different moves now. I see a little bit of a improvement. So the match, they go up to a slow start, but then locked up. Rose no-sold a shoulder block and push Bliss, asking, who do you think you are? And she goes, "I don't think so, honey." And then Bliss slapped the taste out of Mandy's mouth, and then he kicked her down in the corner. Then Bliss was shoved into the corner, and Rose drove her shoulders into Alexa Bliss before Bliss landed a forearm. And then she sent Rose in the outside. Bliss nailed a drop kick. Like I said, the match, wrestling ability wasn't that good. We've seen this again like a few weeks ago. So just to go to the moments of the last moments of the match, Bliss hit some clotheslines, slapped her twice, hit a drop kick, and then the double knees. Suddenly, see, this is the main part of the match. Suddenly, Heavy Machinery's music hit, and then Otis came wandering down in the ring holding Mandy Rose's cake, the cake that she just gave him. And then Bliss, Alexa Bliss, of course, playing the dumb babyface. You will say in this situation, I don't want to say babyface, but like just the dumb person. She just, you know, plays distracted, and then of course Mandy just takes advantage of the opportunity, and then she rolls her up, and then she gets the 1, 2, 3, and we get to see Mandy and Otis like an interaction. He's like, "Hey, thank you, you helped me out. Now you're my best buddy." So that was really cool, and unfortunately for the ones that are fans of the goddess, we got to just be like, come on. But before this, we got to see a little bit of preview, because Michael Cole, Corey Graves, they're all pumping up the Royal Rumble, and they said that Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, they're all going to be in the Women's Royal Rumble. So that is something that hopefully this Royal Rumble is good for, like, it's a good showing for Nikki Cross. She deserves it. She's a great wrestler. Unfortunately, in the role that she's in, being Alexa's lackey, I want to say kind of like I saw some tension because they had, once again, those promos that they do with your phone, that they just like, hey, I enjoy what I do. I'm gonna win the Royal Rumble. So they did one of those promos one more time, and you could see that Alexa goes, well, I'm gonna win the Royal Rumble, even if I have to eliminate Nikki. So I saw like a weird interaction right there. So maybe they will be planting seeds, or that could be just me. But like, if that happens to be, just come to me and say Robrick told you first. So at the end, Mandy Rose gets the win. Pretty interesting, like I said, once again. And we get to another part of the show, and we get Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans, and then she is the one that is going to fight Sasha Banks. But in the end, the match doesn't even take place. So I think WWE was trolling with us, or they just keep the storyline going on. They just keep this situation going because it's like Bayley, Sasha, and Lacey Evans are all of them involved in a feud. Because, well, Banks never showed up, and then they show Bayley on the screen. She says Banks is in LA because she's finishing her rap album, which is probably true. I mean, she's probably recording something, but I don't know if she was right there. But like she said, that Indiana is not a worth city to just have this match, so that's why Sasha is in a city that is actually a good city, or just say like a worthy city, and that's why she's in Los Angeles. And she said, but Bayley is only in Indiana because she's the champion, she's the SmackDown Women's Champion, so she feels that she has contract obligations that she has to be there. So Lacey Evans, see, the one thing is like, I don't know if WWE was actually adding the crowd's reaction. They were pumping up the crowd's reactions, because I know that they've done that in tape shows, so they have the technology to do that. They have the technology to fool us and make us think that like a segment is great, when it's actually, if you are in the arena, then you just hear crickets. Because that's the one thing that I felt when Morrison and The Miz, because see, Morrison, like when he was delivering the lines, like I said, he was a little off. I don't know what it was, because he was like picking on the crowd and things like that, and normally the WWE wrestlers, they don't do that. And even The Miz kind of like felt like, oh, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? I think that I saw like a little bit of an, it felt like off for me. Same thing with Lacey Evans, but it comes the complete opposite. The whole crowd was absolutely insane for her, because she was doing the Marine and everything, and she was like saying, oh, Indiana is the heart of America, honey, and I'm gonna wipe you out, so why don't you face me? So like you will see a lot of either she's really getting over, which I feel that she is, but if they add the crowd noise and everything, I just like, great job for Kevin Dunn, because he made me believe that that Lacey Evans is really over. So that's what happened, and Lacey Evans just said, well, if you have the guts, you should put your championship on the line, and we should have the match right now. And of course, Bayley just brushes her off, and she says, there's no way. I just don't want to do that. And then she also says that, she says that you hear some USA chants, and then you see Bayley calls Evans an overbearing mother, and she said, I'm not your snot-nosed kid, and I don't even have to listen to you. So then Evans went after her, and then they show Evans backstage, and as she was about to get to Bayley's dressing room, Bayley jumped her, and then she told her to put it in her mom's jeans, and go home. Evans then got right back up and beat the crap out of Bayley until a referee stopped her. So then you get to see that like this situation is going to keep building and building and building for the Royal Rumble, and hopefully we get to see like a really good match when it comes to Bayley and Lacey Evans. I think Lacey is starting to grow in this babyface role. I think is a lot better than what they did with her and Becky Lynch. So and then that's the kind of things that you can see from WWE creative at times. Is like how you portray your wrestler, how you make us believe. Because see, this is a slow. Like her role as like a number one contender, her role to obtain that championship match has been a lot better than rather than show up and start feuding with Becky Lynch for no reason, when we didn't even know her enough, when we were only seeing her on NXT, and that's why I feel like she feels a lot more refreshed and more believable when it comes to that. And yeah, I think that she's getting a natural and real and organic reaction from the crowd. just because that the USN chants were like good, and her delivery feels a lot more powerful. It's a lot more impactful. The way she iterates every single line feels more natural. I mean, when heel, probably she did decent, but when it came to like the whole storyline overall with Baron Corbin and with Becky Lynch and all of that, so I feel that that's kind of like took away a lot from her character. So we'll see where they go, but she's showing a lot of intensity. And of course she's blonde, she has the body, she has all the look and the theme song, everything supports her. The women's right for me should be just a signature. She should have a different finisher, but the woman is getting over and a lot of people are loving it, so good for you, Lacey Evans. So we'll see you in the Royal Rumble, but this storyline is going to keep going because I think in the next week or in the next 2 weeks she's going to feud Sasha, and then she's probably going to beat Sasha, and then she's going to get that championship match. She's going to go to Bayley in the Royal Rumble. So we go to another backstage promo, and we see Kayla Braxton interviewing Daniel Bryan, and then she says the question was about his response to what Wyatt said. So Bryan said that the Fiend wants a lot of things, but Bryan remembers everything, including outsmarting him years ago. So now Bryan looks and feels different. What the Fiend doesn't like is that he can break him, and he doesn't like that Daniel knows how to hurt him. So all of a sudden we get to see Rambling Rabbit.
Oh, I know how to make you feel. I know how to make you beat the Fiend. The Fiend actually scares you. The Fiend is gonna kill you.
And he actually says that the Rumble, he in the screen right there we get to see Rumble Rabbit. He showed up on the screen like I said, and behind Bryan, and Rabbit says he's Bryan's biggest fan. He's like, oh, I love the yes movement, yes. So he was about to give the secret to be the Fiend, but then we get to see the hand. We get to see the hand of the Fiend, and then he covers the Rambling Rabbit's face, and he says that he remembers kids. He goes, remember kids, snitches get stitches. So that's one of the things that like you just get to see how the storyline is just getting like even more deep. You just get to see a lot of more elaboration when it comes to this, because now Rambling Rabbit is turning against Bray Wyatt or the Fiend, but then to see the Fiend, like, I really love the delivery of that line. He goes, remember kids, snitches get stitches, and then they go like, they disappear from the screen and everything, and so we all knew that like there was going to be something going on. But like, so they're already giving you a hint, so there's probably a way to defeat the Fiend. And because we know the Fiend as being unbreakable, unstoppable, and of course not in Hell in a Cell, because Hell in a Cell was absolutely disappointing for all of us, but like we know as so far the Fiend cannot be stopped. But Rambling Rabbit knows something that it could be helpful for Daniel Bryan. Unfortunately in this episode we didn't get all of that, but I feel that if they keep teasing this situation, that you're showing a little bit more vulnerability, or showing the Fiend as more vulnerable, then you can be like, give Daniel Bryan a chance, and maybe Daniel Bryan might pull the upset at the Royal Rumble. We don't know. So it's something really interesting to just keep following the story where it goes. So now we go on to a program that, you know, it's not really interesting for me. It's just like something that I don't know why it keeps going on. Is we goes to Braun Strowman against Shinsuke Nakamura. This time is a non-title match. The match itself, we knew that like Strowman was going to win it. Sami Zayn and Cesaro are all outside in the ring. They're just helping out Nakamura. The match itself actually was not that bad. Shinsuke actually did a really good job, because it's the first time that I actually see Shinsuke going against a guy like the size of Strowman. So let me take you through some highlights of the match. And Strowman then, he started out the match by charging Nakamura before hurting him across the ring. Nakamura delivers some kicks, so that's the one thing that like Nakamura does really well, is those kicks to the face, to the back of the head, the neck, you know, like the flying kick that he does. Like Nakamura is always like the knees, you know, his foot, his feet, like legs. The guy like knows when to strike those things. He might not be as skillful when it comes to deliver like holes, because they took away like the exploder that he used to do, because it's really dangerous. But of course he's not going to do that move on Braun Strowman, but he does a really nice backstabber, and he could just do that more. But for now Nakamura is more punches, and then just knee strikes, punches in the turnbuckle. That's what he does the most. So Nakamura again took a turnbuckle right from Strowman before getting splashed into the corner. Then Sami Zayn pulled Shinsuke out of the ring. Braun went outside and stuck Nakamura before turning his attention to Sami Zayn. Then Cesaro sent Braun into the post before Nakamura nailed a kick that sent Braun into the Timekeeper's arena. And then you just get to see also like there was a lot of interaction with Sami, Cesaro, and Braun Strowman. Then he delivered another shoulder tackle, and then Nakamura grabs the title. And then once he's about to like hit Strowman with the Intercontinental Championship, then Strowman actually just doesn't get, he avoids the hit, and then he delivers the power slam, and then 1, 2, 3. Strowman gets the win. And I think that like by beating the champion like in old WWE fashion, Braun Strowman has become #1 contender for the IC Championship. After a post-match, he just watched the belt, he grabbed it, he was looking at it, he's like, maybe this could be my first title in the WWE as a singles competitor, because I've been in like 5 or 6 Universal Championship matches and I never won. So he was like staring, this looks good, I could probably win this. So then he's lifted up, so he's holding the title on the air, and then you see Sami Zayn right away grab it from him, and then you just see like, give me my title back, come on, don't be doing that, I just don't like that, so give me that. So then they run away, so the storyline is going to keep happening, so that's going to be a good showing for Nakamura and Strowman. Hopefully the match, I just don't want to see Strowman as the IC champion, so hopefully they keep Nakamura with the championship, and maybe they just pull a Mustafa Ali or a Shorty Gable or even like a Sheamus, you know, like do a multi-man, maybe like a ladder match or like a multi-man at WrestleMania for the IC championship. Moving along, my family, I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves, because I am. I always love to talk about wrestling with all of you. So just remember, please comment on the videos, help us out to grow. Just, you know, we want to have more interaction with every single one of you. So thank you very much again for watching. Next segment, we get to see the man that returned with a bro kick. We get to see the Celtic Warrior Sheamus. He says that rise over size and embrace who you are is something that Shorty G was saying, but what he got is a bro kick, and then he finally showed him that those concepts can be kind of like antiquated. They don't really make any sense anymore, and that's why he showed to SmackDown and the whole, you know, locker room and the SmackDown audience how small Shorty G really is. And he goes that being small is not something that you embrace, and is actually something that it should be exterminated. And size does matter. That's what it says. If you want to talk about those kind of things, maybe you should talk to a woman. You know, she might be able to tell you. I don't really know where this size thing is going on. Where is this going? But you know, we're not going to get into that much detail when it comes to that. Maybe we can do another podcast, and it will not be a wrestling podcast when it comes to that. It can be just the name. It can be size matters, yes or no. So we're not going to go over that. But then Sheamus goes, he's really correct when it comes to Shorty G. He says that like embrace who you are. And it's like he's definitely right. And then I'm going to embrace myself, and I'm going to embrace total chaos. One thing when it comes to this promo. The promo itself, all the script and everything, all the words that he said, absolutely right. He's a heel. He came to destroy it. Is really good. I understand why they're doing that, but he should be having more matches. He shouldn't be one in, one in out, because I want him to just come and start killing, like, you know, defeating people, destroying people. He should show up and interrupt matches. I want the Sheamus that is going to make sure that he's going to take care of business and business only. So I wanted to more like an explanation. Why did he come back, and why did he come back to attack Shorty Gable? Like, Sheamus is a caliber of another that he should attack a Roman Reigns. He should attack, you know, another face, for example, a Daniel Bryan. He should attack one more face, you know, a bigger name face rather than Shorty G. So hopefully next week he gets a match, and that's something that a whole match, so we can see what the Celtic Warrior has to offer right now. But when it comes to the promo work, still good. But like I said again, it's just I want to see where it goes, because I'm still not sure what Sheamus is going to end up delivering for us. Then we get to see another segment backstage, and Daniel Bryan is coming to his locker room, and then he sees a gift. and then he opens the gift, and it happens to be Rambling Rabbit dead. You see his eyes popped out, and you can see how the Fiend sent that to him to continue those mind games, and you just see Daniel Bryan going like, he decides, and then you can just see like how he's so you can see how he's getting affected by like the mind games that the Fiend is playing with him, when that's what the Fiend really wants. So you can see how the story is giving you that like the Fiend is really getting into Daniel Bryan's head, and we'll see where it goes. So that's where they stop on that, and then we get the big dog, something that, you know, I wasn't really, I was actually happy that I wasn't going to see, but of course I happened to see that the big dog happened to main event, or like always, like he always does every single SmackDown that we've been watching, and he gets a microphone and he says that like 2019 was our top year. He said, I've been outnumbered, I've been jumped, and you know, I've been screwed many times with Baron Corbin and all his lackeys, you could call it, all his friends. So, but in this time, I overcame everything. I've been ashamed, you know, with the dog food and everything. I'm being embarrassed, all of that. But he says, but last week, my family came. He says, the Usos are back, and you know, I needed the help of my family because friends weren't enough. So my family came back, and now they got my back. They got my back. This time, I already have them by my side. So 2020 is going to be Roman Reigns' year. And then the stuff that he said, I was like, can you please not make that a reality? Because, you know, professional wrestling right now is getting into a level that people are starting to get behind it more. People are starting to like it even more. You're not seen down for just being a fan of professional wrestling. And this kind of decision making is what gets people away from the business. And is, you know, he goes and says this. He says, I will win the Royal Rumble and I will main event WrestleMania for the 5th time. So I'm like, well, if that happens to be, then no wonder people don't like wrestling anymore. And you know, we go from like Dynamite, we go from NXT, there are two shows that like are able to portray different stars, are able to give you new guys. And then we go to like another Royal Rumble, another Roman Reigns. Can we not repeat the stuff that we saw in 2015? Can we not see the stuff that like he said it the 5th time? He's been the only person that has been able to main event 4 WrestleManias. Not even Stone Cold Steve Austin, not even Hulk Hogan, not even John Cena. Neither one of them, like you will say, not the best guys, but like the company guys were able to do. But yet Roman Reigns is already like predicting that, and hopefully he's not spoiling. So I hope that it won't be just only a prediction, because sometimes predictions can go wrong. So my hope is that because he said this kind of things, it's not going to happen. So he says that, and then he said the Usos come out. So nice to see the Usos back. They have their issues, you know, they've been pulled over, issues with the law and everything, but like when it comes to wrestling ability and everything, the Usos are spot on. Their tag team with the Uso Penitentiary, all that gimmick and everything made them, to me, superstars. Put them in the same caliber as Young Bucks, Lucha Bros, and those kind of tag teams, best tag teams in the world. So they said that like being 5 months out on the sideline is been really rough, especially when you got to see Queen Carbon and his kingdom disrespect Roman Reigns. And he says, well, Us, when you disrespect Roman, you disrespect me, you disrespect Jay, and you disrespect all the family, so that's why we're here. And before they get to see the Uso Penitentiary stick, then Baron Corbin comes out, and then he says, well, it's really nice to see that like you guys are there, but I have my own guys, and we're gonna make an example out of the big dog's bitches. So that was okay. At least Baron Corbin was able to deliver a good line after all this, you know, all this, you know, weeks and weeks and weeks of this storyline that to me doesn't even make sense. I don't know why we keep seeing this storyline. And also they pumped it up. They said that they might have a match in the Royal Rumble. It will be Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin, because Roman Reigns says it will be nice to kick your ass twice in one night. So I'll beat you in the match, and then when we go to the Royal Rumble, then I'm gonna, you know, throw you through the top rope. So we'll see, and hopefully that's not something that we happen to see, because like I said, I just don't understand why they keep dragging this storyline. Roman Reigns should be doing different things. Why don't he start feuding, with like a babyface? That would be something cool to see, like from we did with Buddy Murphy. Why doesn't he start feuding with like a Sheamus? See, for example, that to me is more interesting, this thing with Baron Corbin. They should drop that storyline because it's just, to me, it's taking way too long. It's just becoming like another authority, like another, like, just a powerful figure against Roman, and I'm just tired of it. It's not attractive anymore. Alright, Roadbreak family. So after that interaction between Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns, the match finally takes place. Then you see the Usos going against, once again, King Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. The match didn't last too long. It was supposed to be the main event, but it came out to become just like a clusterfuck. We got to see the match in the middle. The Usos were dominating Corbin and Ziggler, but then the Revival came out. They started attacking the Usos because they wanted to distract them, then to help out Corbin. But then the Big Dog, of course, had to make the save. And then he started Superman punching everybody. Then he actually delivered a spear to Baron Corbin, and then the match was just ended. It ended up as on a DQ, and then you saw the return of Robert Roode after his 1 month of I will say violation of the wellness policy, of course, due to like they book it into like storyline, but he violated the wellness policy, and that's why he didn't make it into the TLC match that he was supposed to tag with Dolph Ziggler for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and then instead the Revival were the ones that actually went into that match. But then Bobby Roode came back, and he was like saying, he delivered the glorious DDT onto Roman Reigns, and he was saying, hey, take a look at me now right here, you wanted me dead, but I'm back. And then Dolph Ziggler put Roman Reigns to the table with like a big elbow, and then the heels get the win, and they just get a big win. So overall, the show was pretty decent. Like I said, maybe like in-ring skill was not absolutely great, but we can see a lot of development when it comes to new storylines. Interesting to see where Morrison and The Miz are going to go with the New Day. Interesting where Sheamus is going. Braun Strowman and Nakamura possibly feuding for the Intercontinental Championship. That's also interesting. Mandy and Otis is another very interesting piece of the SmackDown brand, so that is good to see that like we have at least a storyline that is organic, that is flowing really good, and is making Otis probably like to become into a singles main event player. So those are to me the pluses. Those are like the green lights, and those are like the ups from the show. Of course, we get like a lot of downs for Roman Reigns saying that he's going to win the Royal Rumble in main event WrestleMania. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And we get for also more exposure from Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler. Dolph, to me, great wrestler. I'm a big fan. But when he gets put in this kind of like lame storylines, to me, it's been like 2 or 3 years that he's been just feuding with Roman Reigns. We see him in every single match possible in the book. So to me, he's not as good as it could be. But this is the end of the show, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Give me feedback. I need comments and everything. Shout out to John Paul, my friend. And don't forget to reach us out on the social media world. We have Facebook on the Roadbreak. We have the OG Roadbreak on Twitter. The original Roadbreak on Instagram. They're all right there for you in their beautiful layout. This is Juan reporting for all of you. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And like I said, it's going to be a busy weekend one more time for Roadbreak, just because we have NXT TakeOver Blackpool and we have Hard to Kill on Sunday, and tomorrow is going to give a little bit of a treat for all of you. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being part of this family, and in the name of myself, in this case, I'm just going to have to say Ada.